Wow, that was kind of different. All right, first and foremost, let me say hello. Let's make sure everybody can hear me in the chat room before we continue. Good. Let me tell you that I cannot look at the camera and talk to you and look off to my side at the chat room. So it is pointless for you to type into the chat room to tell me to look into the chat room. I don't know if you guys can comprehend this concept. I can't have one eye looking this way and one eye looking that way. I'm not Steve Buscemi. So I appreciate you letting me know that's not the best way to do it. If you want to get my attention while I'm on the live stream, the best way to do that would be to potentially send me a Facebook message, and then my phone will beep. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until I glance over and I notice there's no audio. Go ahead and type in there's no audio, but you know, telling me to look at the screen when I can't see the screen to look at it is ridiculous. So think about what you're typing. Anyway, thank you for your help, and it looks like everything is good to go and ready to move forward. So this is one of the fun parts of being a one-man operation here. Normally, folks would have a camera operator, and the camera person would, you know, keep an eye on the chat and verify everything's going out correctly. So please bear with me as we kind of go through these growing pains. So I'm going to start again. So let's start the stream. The stream's not going anywhere. It's going to be edited at this point. So we're going to go ahead and restart the stream. Here we go. All right, welcome into the latest live stream. Yesterday I was not able to do the wire management. I got busy and I wasn't able to touch the new machine that was built on the live stream yesterday, which is fine. It's in the condition that we left it in yesterday. Today I'm going to show you how to move the operating system from one computer to another computer. This should be interesting because this is an AMD system and this is an Intel system. They are not at all compatible. The very first step you have to do when you want to move the operating system over is you have to clone the hard drive onto your new storage drive in your new PC. I guess you could also move your hard drive, but there'd be no sense in moving an old slow hard drive into a new computer because it would slow the entire computer down. So you've just defeated the whole purpose of your upgrade. I mean, you'll still see an improvement, but it's not. It's going to be handicapped by your old piece of hardware, which will be the first part to fail. So I do recommend if you're building a new computer, make sure all the components are new, or expect the components you carry over to slow down your new machine so it won't be able to run at its full potential, and then further expect those to be the first parts to fail. So with that said, what I have to do is get the hard drive out of this machine. This is the machine, as you recall, from the previous live broadcast. That's the AMD, whatever I said it was, Phenom or something. And to get the drive out, I need to take the other panel off. So let me do that now. Just take these out. Set that there. And let's pull this cover off. Here we go. Come on. Come on, cover. Sometimes these covers, man, I really don't like these really cheap cases because they are a pain to work on. And back in the day, that's the way they made them, unfortunately. So let me just set that out of the way. And I've got 2 screws on each side of the hard drive. This is our drive right here. I'm going to go ahead and unplug power and data from it. And I'm going to take the 2 screws out that are on my side. And I'm going to come around here and I'm going to take the 2 screws out on this side. We'll set those down, move this over. Bumping into some cables, there we go. So there's our hard drive, and this I need to get out of the way because it's just going to get in the way. So just set that over there. Okay, so here's our hard drive, as you can see. This one, this is when they use date codes. I can't decipher these date codes. Well, anyway, if you want to look it up, you can look it up. If the camera will focus on it. That's the old drive. Now, the new hard drive is brand new out of the box. It has no operating system on it, so there's nothing to boot to. And I decided today, because I'm crazy, I'm going to use Macrium Reflect for the very first time to do this clone. I like to use Acronis because I'm familiar with Acronis. However, Acronis 2018 just came out, and when I boot to it, my keyboard and mouse don't work because it's a Linux environment that Acronis boots to, and it needs a command entered for at least for the wireless keyboard and mouse that I have to function properly. I have to go in and I don't want to type it in manually every single time I boot Acronis. So I'm going to have to go into my configuration file when I'm making the Acronis rescue disk or boot disk and add that to tell it to run that command automatically. And they're also not including Universal Restore on the downloadable rescue image, which means I have to install Acronis. I have to do it anyway to modify the startup for Linux to recognize the keyboard and mouse. And then I can also tell it to create a rescue disk that has a Universal Restore. They don't do that by default. You have to make it. And then once I make it, I can uninstall Acronis. I'll be done with it. But because I haven't done that yet, I thought this will be a good time to experiment with Macrium Reflect. I don't know really what the main difference is going to be other than the interface will be different. And Macrium is about $70 and you can get Acronis for about $30. I don't know if Macrium's worth twice the price. Does it work faster? Does it? I don't know. I have no idea. You've seen me use this before. It's referred to as a hard drive dock or a hard drive toaster. And we can take the hard drive and we can just plug it right in like toast in a toaster. And I'm going to set that right there. And I need to plug it in. I need to give it power. So let me just get this plugged in over here. Actually, yeah, that's good. And then it's got to plug into USB, which I don't want to do just yet. I've got power for the machine here. Power switch is off. I'm going to need to use my keyboard and mouse. And I think I'm going to try something a little different here. I don't know. This is kind of crazy of me to do this live, but what the heck, you know? You only live once, right? So let me plug my keyboard and mouse in there. And I need an Macrium Reflect Windows PE boot environment, which I have here. Oh, I hope this works. And again, all we're going to do is clone the drive, and then we'll try and boot it. It's probably not going to boot. Then we'll have to boot back to Macrium Reflect again and use what they call redeploy. In Acronis, it's universal restore. Some other utilities call it bare metal restore. They all have their own little names that they call it, which is a shame. It makes this more complicated than it needs to be for people that are just learning. But I just tell you that so you're aware of it. I think I'm going to need to move this over because my cable's a bit short, and I'm going to try and give you guys a direct video feed out. Not sure if this is going to work. Last time I tried this, everything blue screened on me, which may be a driver issue. I don't know. I haven't had time to look at the crash log. Okay, everything's good there. Okay, so your screen's going to go black temporarily. You should still be able to hear me. Let's see. I'm going to see your screen. It should be black right now, but you should still be able to hear me okay if I'm doing this right. And I need my mouse back temporarily because things are in the way. So let me just move this screen over here. There we go. There, I can at least see what you guys are saying now. Now I can put the keyboard and mouse back again. Let's put that back in there. Now let's see what happens if I turn this computer on, if we're going to get any video. Let me flip the power supply switch back on. And are we going to get video? Yes. Okay, so that should be a nice, clean picture for you guys. Can everybody confirm? It's booting right now to the Macrium Reflect PE image. And again, you should still be able to hear me while we're getting video from another source. Yes? Everybody's good? Good. Thank you for the responses in the chat. Now that Macrium is loaded, I'm going to go ahead and plug. You know what? Let me switch back over here so I can talk to you for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the USB for the hard drive dock into an available USB 3 port because I don't want this to take all day. And then I'm going to turn the hard drive dock on. Why isn't it coming on? There it goes, and light just lit up. I'm a little freaked out. This hard drive, oh, I see, it wasn't seated all the way down. So it's back off again. Let me just reseat the hard drive. Let me turn it back on. Better. Okay, let's switch back over to the machine. And let's take a look at what our options are here. We just want to make an image. So I should be able to, I guess I'm going to have to, there's the redeploy. We don't want that yet. We want to do a clone. There's a backup and a restore. Other tasks. No. Image selected disk. I guess it's an image, not a clone. Select the source drive and the image destination. No, I don't want that. Let's see. Fix Windows boot problems. There's got to be a clone option in here somewhere. If I go to backup, image, create file and folder backup. I don't see you'd think it would be an select the source disk, select the destination folder. I don't want either of those. Network config, keyboard layout. I don't see an option for imaging or cloning the file, cloning the hard drive from one drive to the other. You'd think I mean, the only option I'm seeing is to image it. And then to image it, it wants to go to a destination folder. Maybe under advanced options. No. So let's say we want to take this disk right here, which isn't letting me select for some reason. It may be that it's not seeing the USB dock. So let me try moving it into a different USB port. It may be that it just simply doesn't see the USB 3 ports. Maybe this version of Macrium doesn't recognize those USB 3 ports. So let's give this a minute. Let's go back to backup. I hear the drive doing something. Let's refresh. Ah, there we go. That's better. Okay, so that's the drive we want, which includes all of these partitions, as you can see. And then we should be able to go to image selected disks on this computer. And I should be able to select source drive and image destination. It wants to make a file. It still wants to make a file. So that's not it. I am still kind of stuck here. Folder backup, advanced. Compression, file size, password, verify the image. Backup, set matching, and shutdown. Well, that's not good. Huh. Alternative locations. edit the list, add to the list. We want to be on the internal C drive, which is where? Is it F? No, it's not F. Is it G? See, now I don't know. It's not giving me any information about which is which. I do not see the internal hard drive. So the C is going to be our boot USB. D is the DVD drive. Then E, F, and G actually C and X are going to be the same drive. I do not see our internal drive at all. Yeah, I don't see it. Our internal drive just does not appear. Huh. I don't see any option to clone the drive at all. Let's hit cancel. Refresh the page here. Here we go. I had to click on this whole, click on the drive. Clone this disk now appears. I'm going to click that. Select the disk to clone to. And there's our SanDisk. That's the one we want. Then we'll click next. Insufficient space. So this happens because the original drive is 320 gigs, I think, and the new drive is 240, but we're barely using any data at all on here. It should auto resize it. I'm surprised. Perform intelligent sector copy. Yes. Enable SSD trim. Yes. All of that looks right. If I say this, I don't want to select a different source. Select a different target. Yes. There should be an option to have it auto resize the partitions. Use intelligent sector copy. I mean, that right there should translate, in my opinion, to auto resizing the partitions. If we were doing a sector copy, then obviously the drive we're cloning to would have to be the same size or larger to get the same sectors. So when I click next, well, I can tell you that not only is this Macrium Reflect more than twice the amount of money of Acronis, it's not as obvious on how to use it. I thought, we'll do it live. How hard could it be? Well, there you go. I am sure there is an option in here drive letter auto, partition type active, alignment, partition size. I'm good with that. Interesting. I just keep going back and forth to the same places. So this is the fun part of learning a new piece of software, because just see this one. Maximum size, minimum size. See, all of this should be automatic. Should automatically resize. All right, well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to shut this down. Let me move you guys back to me. Okay. Take my glasses off here, and let's just shut this down. Let me take Macrium out of here. And let me put Acronis in so I can at least do the clone. I'll have to study this Macrium another time when I'm not live and you guys aren't just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting for something to happen, right? So let's see. Let's try this and see if we have any better luck. I want to unplug this drive again. I don't want it plugged in yet. And then let me turn this back on and switch you guys back over to the second feed. And let's see. I guess I got to turn the power supply back on. All right, here we go. Turning it on now. And we want Acronis trimmage. This is the UEFI boot screen. Acronis has two different boot screens depending on if you're booting in UEFI or legacy mode. So we'll give this a minute to load. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and plug the hard drive dock back in. Hold on a minute, guys. I'm going to raise this volume up a bit. This should be a little bit louder. And let's go back to this machine here. Okay. All right, well, I'm back home with the tool I'm familiar with. Let's do Tools and Utilities, clone the disk, automatic, next, source drive, disk 3. No, source drive is disk 2. Be very careful and make sure you select the right source disk. Next, destination is disk 1. You'll see disk 1 is not initialized. It's brand new. It's measured out at 223.6 gigs, whatever it is. Click next. And where options here are copy partitions without changes, or copy partitions and use a disk as non-system GPT style destination disk will not be bootable. I don't know. Let's see. Partition style destination will be converted to GPT, but it will not be bootable. I'm going to say copy it without changes and hit next. Interesting. It only shows 2 partitions instead of 3. I wonder why. It's showing this is the disk before we begin the clone. This will be the disk after the clone is complete. Let me go back. Let's change the method. What if I said this option here? It says it won't be bootable. Hit next. Still shows 2 partitions. The selected disk will be converted to GPT and it'll be used as a non-system disk. Nope, 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 nope. Let me take a look at our source again. Source disk is disk 3. I see 3 partitions. 1, 2, 3. Next. Acronis is thinking about it. Acronis is thinking about it a lot. I don't know if you guys can hear the drive cranking away. I have never had this occur in Acronis before. So let's just wait and see what happens here. This may be something that was addressed in Acronis Trimmage 2018. This is Acronis Trimmage 2017. I am accustomed to this taking a little bit of time. It did happen awfully quick the first time. Then we want to go to disk 1 is our destination and hit next. That is much better, much better. We didn't get any warning about the partition. I don't know what happened differently there. We did everything exactly the same way. So I'm going to go ahead and hit proceed because that's what I wanted to see. Everything was resized automatically. It was very, very simple. And I've clicked proceed, and now we're just going to wait. And Acronis usually when it's checking out the source disk, it usually does take about 2 minutes. It's not unusual. And the first time I did it, it zipped right through real quick, which was very suspicious. So we're going to let that run, and while that's running, let me switch back over. All right, so does anybody, right now while we're waiting, does anybody have any questions they'd like me to address? Let me get my glasses back on because I've got the monitor further away now. We should be on an ultra low latency stream here, so the delay shouldn't be as bad as it's been in the past. I want to grab a different mouse. I'm tired of plugging and unplugging, and I can't control the streaming computer when I'm using the mouse on the cloning computer, and I don't want to interrupt the cloning computer. So let me get another mouse going here. Just take me a minute. Let's move this one over here. Plug this one in here. Ah, better. Okay. I want to make sure that my stream options, yeah, we're on ultra low latency, so the delay between what I say and what you hear should be as minimized as YouTube can make it. So if you seemingly have a long delay, then go ahead and refresh your page. Kaby, did you think about Paragon Hard Disk Manager? When you clone a hard drive, there are a lot of different utilities you can use. Mini partition tool, Paragon, Acronis, Macrium, Clonezilla, it goes on and on and on. My default is to stick with the biggest, most popular tools used in corporations. Generally speaking, Paragon and Mini Partition Tool, they're not as well known. They haven't been around as long. I think with the Mini Partition Tool, you have to resize all your partitions manually. I would assume that there's a way for Macrium Reflect to automatically do it. Why it doesn't default to that, I don't know. Maybe there isn't. Maybe I'm making a wrong assumption here, but I would put Acronis and Macrium as sort of neck and neck. Clonezilla may automatically, I don't know. Clonezilla's, the interface is a little bit more confusing. Acronis has teams just for the interface to develop that, the GUI, the graphical user interface, which makes it easier to use. ideally, the interface is something that once you learn it, as long as you stick with that single product and you repetitively use it, you're going to learn the interface regardless of how difficult it is, like with Clonezilla, etc. So rather than, I certainly don't want to use any free cloning tools, because I'm not aware of any free cloning tools that will auto resize the partitions. So those are out. I can't use a hard drive cloner like a hardware cloner because I need a drive that's the same size or larger, and we're going to a smaller drive. So the only tool that I'm aware of right now that auto resizes the partitions going from a big drive to a little drive automatically is Acronis. And I believe Macrium will do that. I just haven't found the option, which is not good for Macrium. If I'm struggling and I'm a tech, what is the average user supposed to, what's the expectation there, right? So Paragon, I don't know if it does or it doesn't. I do like the Paragon tools that I've used. Mini partition tool, again, for a little free utility, if you're going from the same size drive or larger, is fine. Let me see what else we got going on in the chat. Is there any advantage of giving a previously used hard drive a hard drive shredder wipe to completely wipe it before doing a clone? No, when you clone the drive, it's going to write over it. So the only advantage you would have to shredding the data would be if you were if you're worried that somebody may attempt to recover sectors that were not overwritten by the clone. If you did a sector by sector clone of a drive of the same size, it will overwrite all the sectors anyway, so the data's gone. You would have to be perhaps in a situation, a legal situation, for the kind of utilities that would be required to recover data at that point. If the data on the drive is that sensitive, then a hard drive shredder would be recommended. Honestly, with hard drives being as inexpensive as they are, if you're that paranoid about your data, or if there's something on there that could be harmful or cause harm to you, then you're best to physically destroy the drive. And with a solid state drive, it means destroying every little chip on the circuit board, because if you leave one chip remaining, there's potential data that can be restored. I think that's a bit overkill for most people. I think for most people, just simply doing the clone is enough. It's highly unlikely that anybody's going to scour through the unwritten space on the drive looking for some hidden thing to come get you, So decide for yourself what the right way to go is there. Let me go back to the chat. The memory you used yesterday was 2 sticks. On Amazon, it was 1 stick. I think you need to go back and look at that link again. I've had very good luck using Asus Partition Manager. Yeah, Asus has some great tools. The thing is for what I need to do a universal restore or redeploy or bare metal restore, as far as I know, nobody does that for free. So what am I supposed to do? Pay for Paragon and pay for mini partition and pay for this and pay for that and then start comparing them? I'll be $200 in software at least. And I'm only going to end up using one. One is going to be my favorite, and the rest are just going to be sitting around. And I know Acronis does it. I've used Acronis for years, and it's very rarely ever let me down. This new version, the 2018 version of Acronis Trimage, is so new. They haven't addressed the mouse not working. Again, if I plugged a physical mouse into it, I probably wouldn't have that problem, but using the wireless Logitech mouse, it's not detecting, and I have to force a command. Acronis will release updates. There'll probably be 4 to 6 updates to Trimage 2018 between now and when Acronis 2019 comes out, which will probably be around the fall of 2018. That's usually when they release the new version. So this is why I don't like being a pioneer for new software. I'm a business person. My time is money. And if I have to spend time trying to figure out simple things like getting the mouse to work. It's costing me money, so I can stick with the older version where I don't have that problem. Unfortunately, I don't have the Universal Restore recovery disk made with any version, 2017 or 2018. So when we get to that point, I'll just use Macrium Reflect because it looks pretty straightforward. I've never used it before, and that'll be a good learning experience. Unless somehow we get lucky and the machine boots. I don't think it will, but we're going to find out. Let's see how we're doing on the clone process here. It looks like we're at 5.